Hi, can any
We heard the echo.
Hi, Khalid. We heard you, but then there was a big echo.
right? So
It looks like you need to mute your individual channel. That's better.
Can you hear us from this mic right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it
Yes.
wasn't registered. That's it. Perfect. Excellent. You can continue. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. The minutes from our last meeting were distributed to the committee members ahead of time by the board office. If there's no objection, we will adopt the minutes from the last meeting. Committee members, do you object to adopting the minutes? You may raise your hand. If not, there's no objections. We are going to adopt last, committee meeting minutes. The minutes will be done by myself. And now we are going announcements. You said announcement? Yes, anyone have any announcements? No announcements, really? No announcements, okay. So I will do announcements, I have announcements, I was waiting for anybody to say apologize. Okay. Announcements. Snow season starts November 24th, 2024. There was an email by the Department of Sanitation, District Superintendent, thank you so much, Christina Stenitz. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly. They will also they announced that November 2nd, I apologize. There is another announcement by Big Reuse. They are having a street tree care planting together on Saturday, November 23rd at 10 a.m. Location 125th Street and Park Avenue. They are going to beautify the corridor in 125th. Another announcement, you okay? And this Saturday, November the 9th, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. at Maggie's Magic Garden in 1574 Lexington Avenue. There will be a campfire story and tea time with Emmy Uribe from Tea Arts and Culture. Please join. And lastly, but not least, there will be a planting on November 20th. If anyone wants to join, please do so. They did invite a community board 11 members. I unfortunately cannot join. They will be planting flowers, tulips, 10 a.m. on the McNair Playground. Those are my couple of announcements. Does anyone have any other announcements? If not, we're gonna keep on going with the agenda.
You said they're planting toilets?
Tulips, yes,
I
flowers,
said tulip.
tulip, yeah,
Those
my
are tulips.
apologies.
Okay, that's what's up.
My Latina, yeah,
Okay, tulips.
and yes.
Hi, Rosa. Are you looking for agency updates now?
Right now, we are having the informational updates and you're next.
Okay. Oh, I'm next. Okay. Hello, good night, everyone. Let me just turn on my camera here. Hi there. Okay, a few updates for Marcus Garvey Park. This weekend, the Marcus Garvey Park Alliance and the Soapbox is hosting a live music and spoken word on the mountaintop from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the Acropolis / the mountaintop. I can share the Instagram link for that event in the chat right now. And then Just a reminder, the mountaintop is now permittable for sound events. This will be your first permitted sound event on the mountaintop. But just a reminder, vehicles are not allowed in the park. Secondly, the artwork by Jerome Hayford on the base level called Sankofa will be removed this month. Aliyah, the other larger art piece on the Acropolis, is still there until spring of 2025. The 4 other story walk pieces will remain in the park as well until spring of 2025. This week after Election Day, we closed the stage down. That means we installed fencing to protect the stage for many fires that may occur. In the past, there used to be fires from people camping out on the stage. Also for the pavement work continues at Marcus Garvey. All 4 of our ADA access points are now usable, so you can enter in via ADA access on 124th, 2 on the rec center, north and south, and then at 120th Street. We've opened up 2 entrances, the entrance on Mount Morris Park West and 121st Street. And again, the 4th ADA access point on 120th Street. We've closed down the last portion around the ball field. So it's a little interesting navigating, but you could definitely go through the new ADA spot on 120th Street and get back into the park at 5th Avenue. Those are all the updates for me right now. Oh, one more. I would like to introduce the new regional manager for District 11, Matt Genrich, who we have, who's also on this call with us tonight. So I'll pass it over to him.
Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Ginrich. As Tapashi said, I'm looking forward to working with you all and helping to make our parks the best that they can be. I was previously a park manager over in District 7 and 9 for community boards on the Upper West Side and West Harlem. So I'm looking forward to having, I will now have also 10 and 11 under my jurisdiction as well. Robert McLean, who is a previous regional, is moving over on the east side, and Dave Williams, who's unable to be here tonight, is still on board as our district park manager. So I'm still getting my feet on the ground, learning the properties, but as these meetings go on, I look forward to bringing you guys more information.
Awesome, thank you so much. Yes. We have one question from, we have 2 questions. Hang on one second, go ahead.
It's a 2-part question. One is the Kofi installation is gonna be removed, you said this month around, is that at the beginning or the, like, what is the time frame? And is there gonna be a celebration of removal, since it's been there for such a while? There should be some sort of ritual celebration as it's removed. Second
They
question.
had it already.
Oh,
There
wow.
was a celebration in the month of October.
Oh, I
They
missed it.
Yeah, sorry about that. But it'll be removed in the middle of the month, and it's 1 day where they'll come in and deinstall the whole from top to bottom Sankofa. But we
Very
still
nice.
have Aliyah up on top, and it now has lights. They installed solar power lights on Aliyah and the 4-story walk leading up to the Acropolis.
Okay, is your Acropolis easy to get to for people that are not as able walkers? Okay, I got the answer from Connie.
It's challenging. At one point, all pathways that led up there were staircase, but we do have one that it's still a hilly path. It's a mountain. People call it the mountaintop for the reason it's quite hilly. But there is one path behind the pool building where it's slightly less inclined and paved over, so it's not a staircase. So to get to the top, you have to take at least 2 flights of stairs.
Okay, and my second question is the, it's right by the ball field where you sit down, the risers, I think they're called. Are those gonna be replaced anytime soon? Because they're really rickety. And a lot of other stuff that is underneath them that should not be like, syringes and other paraphernalia is usually underneath them.
Paraphernalia underneath the
The
risers.
by the ball field at Marcus Garvey, right by the laboratory area. You know those risers where people sit to look at the ball field?
Oh, the bleachers.
Okay, you call them bleachers, okay.
I couldn't think of the word either.
I call them risers, that's what.
We can have we'll have the M&O staff based out of Marcus Garvey at least look to make sure it's clean underneath of there, and then we'll see what can be done as far as any improvements on the bleachers or risers, whatever terminology you prefer.
It's just that they're really rickety, so when you're going up and down, you can feel it's unsteady.
It's unstable?
Unstable, unsteady.
No problem. Matt will do his own investigation and get back to us. Connie, your question?
A quick question and a quick comment. I was just curious, the work on the pathways and the ADA compliance and all that, is that going to extend now into the southeast corner over by the dog run and the workout area?
Part of it's slated to go close to the dog run, but it doesn't extend very far on the southeast portion.
So is there any, because people are actually asking me if that area is going to be fenced off. Will there be access to the basketball courts and the fitness area primarily? Or will that be fenced off?
Honestly, we're getting into the colder months, so I would say let's see how far the construction gets for it's stopped at Fifth Avenue on the and 120th Street. I can't say if it will meet the other side this season. They might have to pick up for next season, but if it does, I can let the community board know.
Okay, perfect. And then the last thing, just a quick comment. Matt, you're probably too new to the scene, but I'm working in White Playground all this week restoring the mural. And I just wanted to make the comment that we've had such a wonderful relationship with the cleanup crews coming in every single day. And I wanted to commend them because it's a super, super busy park with hundreds and hundreds of people, even off season, and young people and a lot going on. And so I really just wanted to pass on how appreciative we are having them there.
That's
We'll make sure that they get that praise. So thank you for acknowledging their work.
That's nice, Connie. Thank you. Anything else before we move on? Thank you guys so much. Matt, hopefully we'll see you next month too. And Tabachi, thank you so much.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
I plan on attending as many meetings as I can.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Is there anyone from Department of Sanitation? So she promised to come this month, no?
No,
No comment?
nothing.
Okay.
I mean, from last month.
Yeah.
No, she would maybe return. No, Marissa hasn't said anything regarding such yet, actually. We could follow up her.
Yeah, we will definitely follow up on. Anyone from the Department of Environmental Protection?
Actually, I have someone who's supposed to be introducing the Borough of Coastal Resiliency, so it would be an informational update, but they would be introducing themselves, so we could, So really quick, Emily Tong from Department of Health, she's asking if she can be left in the agenda because she doesn't have a lot of time. I don't know if you want to consider that request.
Yeah, of course. I think,
Okay, so then maybe if we can, like, condense this meeting, we can ask maybe if Lorian Farrell, who's with DP, if this is going to be if it's going to be a quick introduction, that we can maybe just put this in our informational updates section, so we can ask her. Hi, Lorian, are you here with us right now?
Hi, yeah, I am. Good evening. Can you see me?
Yes, we can, Lorian. Just really quick, we do have you in our presentations and discussions. Do you think that you'd be taking a while to introduce yourself and the Borough of Coastal Resilience? Or do you think it's something that could be a quick 5-minute introduction?
I could do it in 5 minutes for sure. Yeah.
So would you mind just introducing yourself and going along in this section right here for Department of Environmental Protection with informational updates? Are you okay with doing that?
Absolutely. I have a few slides that I can share if that's
Sure,
possible,
yes.
or I can just speak. That's fine too.
No problem. Here, I'll stop my share and then you can go ahead.
Okay, great. So I can absolutely do this in 5 minutes. Are you seeing a title slide now?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. So hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm very happy to be here to meet you for the first time and hopefully the first of many, many encounters. The purpose of me coming on today was really to let you know about the new Bureau of Coastal Resilience, which is housed within the Department of Environmental Protection. And it's actually been around a year. I was hired a year ago, and I've been working for the last year to really solidify what our mandate is and to stand up the team for the Bureau. And let me just advance this slide. It was created coming out of the Mayor's Plan NYC is one of the initiatives to create a new bureau that has the ability to bring all of the moving parts around coastal resilience together. There's so many agencies working on different pieces. So we wanted to make sure we're consolidating our efforts, standardizing our efforts, and really making sure we take advantage of all the opportunities that are coming our way through different funding sources, all of the different community groups that are doing work. And so, as I mentioned, I'm the first employee of this bureau, but we intend to grow into 3 different groups where we'll have a long-term planning group. We have an engineering team who will be leading on all of the reviews of designs for the upcoming coastal resilience projects that are being planned all around the city. And then it will be the Bureau of Coastal Resilience that is responsible for operating and maintaining all of the new assets that we're building. So a little bit south of your area where you see the East Side Coastal Resilience, flood walls and floodgates now just being completed for a portion of that project. It'll be the Bureau of Coastal Resilience that's responsible for getting out there and closing those gates when we have another hurricane type event like Hurricane Sandy. And I'll just skip through a lot of these slides because if I had come earlier in the season, in the hurricane season, I would have wanted to talk a little bit more about hurricane preparedness and what you can do to prepare. But we're now hopefully nearing the very end, the tail end of hurricane season. It's been a very active year, above average year for hurricanes. The city has a lot of resources to help communities prepare, and I can come back and talk about those again next spring ahead of next hurricane season. Here's some examples of the type of work that we're working on: planning and designing public amenity spaces that also serve a dual purpose of having providing flood protection. And we also need to think not just about the coastal storm surge issue, but tidal flooding that some New Yorkers are experiencing daily and sea level rise. But we also need to think about rainfall in combination with those different coastal types of events. This slide just shows the different types of infrastructure that we're planning and designing and building around the city now. And the bottom left-hand side is one that's not necessarily a short-term project. As a matter of fact, it's a very long-term project, but something that the Army Corps is considering are large-scale storm surge barriers in the harbor. I won't go into any more than that. I just want to keep it brief, just to let you know that we're working on a lot of different projects around the coast that the Bureau is as we stand up, we really want to talk to you more directly about what it is your community would like to see us working on. And if you have any questions about coastal resilience or ideas or concerns, we're here and happy to meet with you anytime. So I'll leave it there, but thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we're looking forward to are you going to send that slide so we can actually share it out with our members?
I can do that. And then on the back slides, the slides I didn't get to are all of those resources about hurricane preparedness, but those preparedness slides are also really handy, just preparedness in general for any sort of emergency. So happy to share those with you.
Yeah, that'd be great because, at least our members have some visual, and can also be aware what you will be prepared for next year, in advance, of course.
Yes. And I will just say one last thing, which is the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is undertaking a massive regional flood protection study. And it's really important that we ramp up our community engagement around that particular body of work. And so there's a couple of slides in here about that as well. And when we get staffed up more, we'll come back and talk specifically about that project and what it means for your community.
Excited already. Thank you so much. I know we have the East Harlem coalition of emergency here in East Harlem, and it will be great to know more. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you very much. Good night.
1 second. I definitely, okay, so now do you want,
Move forward with the rest of any park advocacy groups, any community
Thank you.
organizations.
okay,
Thank you very much, Lauren. You can move forward.
okay, any parks advocacy groups that
Hi,
would like?
That's Dave Salerno from Randall's Island. I was just gonna do a quick update. I don't have a ton of things for the community board this evening. We continue to have volunteer events Wednesdays and Saturdays, the Riverkeeper cleanup project. So if anyone is interested in coming to the park, helping clean up the waterfront areas, that's on Wednesdays and Saturdays. The big thing I wanted to let people know about was Parks released an RFP for Randall's Island for food services, both at Icon Stadium during the track and field season, as well as the orange kiosks, the 3 kiosks around the park, and also for mobile food vending. So that is on the New York City Parks. If you go search for the RFP page, people can download it from the parks website. And I think it's over the beginning of next month. So if anyone's interested, I'd be happy to, there's a contact on there for Parks Revenue who this is run through. If people are interested or have additional questions, it's on the RFP itself. And anyone, I'm happy to answer any questions. If people have them directly, they can reach out to me as well. Aside from that, it's not too much else. It's kind of towards the end of the season. We're closing our grass fields December 1, so we're kind of ramping down the athletic field season. And just getting ready, doing fall cleanups for leaves and getting ready for the winter. So happy to answer any questions if anyone has anything. If not, that's about all I have.
Thank you so much. Anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
No questions. Thank you.
Okay.
so much.
Alrighty, take it easy.
And anyone else? Okay, good. Any community-based organizations? Okay, we are moving on to presentations now.
Yes, so we'll let Emily go first.
Yeah.
For the NYC heat map.
Well, she's the next one.
Yes, so she's 73rd. She was supposed to be here last month, but she had childcare.
No, yeah, I remember. Thank you.
Okay, Emily, go ahead.
Mike, it's all yours.
You're muted, Emily.
I just wanted to thank you for moving me up in the agenda. I really appreciate it. And also
Sure.
for your flexibility. Yeah, so this will be quick. I just wanted to share an update on a project that I believe some folks from this community board worked on a couple of years ago called Heat Story. I don't know if any of you in the room right now or online are familiar with it or remember it, but as a quick recap, it started with some CBOs, South Bronx Unite, We Act, and some Columbia University researchers, and they collaborated on collecting some hyperlocal data from northern Manhattan and the South Bronx on kind of the differences in heat between neighborhoods. Really, really cool project. And then the really impactful part of it as well was that they reached out to see if people wanted to share their experiences with heat and with energy insecurity, not being able to access cooling, and just like, you know, how those heat disparities were affecting their lives and their commutes. And all of that was turned into this kind of like interactive story map that I'll just link here. It's at heatstorynyc.org. So yeah, that's still live. Really, really cool project. And one of the co-founders or like you know, originators of this project approached us a little while ago at the health department and asked us to kind of expand upon this project. And you know, see if we could support some of the technological kind of needs of it. It also has a lot of data sets that you can turn off and on as you explore the stories, and we'll get to that in a moment. And we said that sounds great. So for the past little while, we've been working with Liv Yoon, who is one of the people that started the project, and with some of the CBOs to kind of like expand this project, open up the portal to kind of like invite more stories from people, and update a lot of the data sets by integrating them directly with some of the environment and health data that we have on the health department website. So I think it's something that's probably better demonstrated than explained. So I'm going to go ahead and do that quickly. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Oh yeah, would you mind if
Actually,
I...
I'll stop my share and you do it. Yeah, so you can.
Oh, okay, thank you. Awesome, thank you so much. Okay, moment. Oops. Oh, this is right. Okay, great. So yeah, this is kind of what this expansion of the project looks like. It's not currently live on our site, but I'll just kind of go through how it works really quickly and then tell you what's next. And I think Khalid attended our demo like a couple months ago. And yeah, mentioned that you might be interested in hearing about these updates and maybe working with us to collaborate, contribute, share, etc. So as you go onto the page, you can kind of read some background on the disparities in heat in New York City. Even with the urban heat island effect, different neighborhoods are hotter than others, and that has health impacts on people. That's why we've been working on this project at the health department, although of course it like touches many different agencies and the work of many different agencies around the city. And we kind of get into those disparities and how they affect people and how a lot of those effects are not fair. And then we talk about the hyperlocal temperature data, South Bronx Unite, We Act, and the community boards, which of course includes some of you here. And then we've recently started working with South Queens Women's March to invite more testimonies about extreme heat. So the really cool part about this is you can explore on the left-hand side some of these stories. So like this was submitted by somebody, they chose to be listed anonymously, but people can put their names if they want. Totally up to, you know, that person, how much or how little information that they share. So this person was talking about how they are finding it difficult to sleep because of the heat, which of course impacts every single aspect of your life, but air conditioning costs too much. So you can kind of see how like socioeconomic disparities interact with climate change and housing as well. And then over here on the right, once you select that person's story, this pin on the map takes you to like the general area. Again, people can give us like as much or as little information as they want, whether it's their block or their address, or an intersection or whatever. But this kind of shows us where that story was submitted on the map. And you can zoom in or out. And then down here, we have these citywide data layers. This is all data that we update pretty frequently. Sometimes it takes a few years, but we, try our best to keep everything as current as we can. And you can explore different layers that have to do with things like neighborhood poverty, air quality. We have the heat vulnerability index, which you may have heard of. So you can kind of look at how the distribution of those risks to people's health changes. And also like within the context of someone's personal story. You have a question?
Yeah, can you since clicking on stuff, can you go to like East Harlem? Since we're like in East Harlem, are you able to do that?
Oh yeah, of course. Oops. East Harlem.
Yeah, right,
Would
yeah.
be up here. Yeah, so yes, that's a great point. So yeah, and then you can, sorry, my Zoom thingy is in the way. You can see here that like as you kind of mouse over or click over the different neighborhoods, you can see how these things differ. And you can also read a little bit more about some of the data layers as well as get a link to the actual data set on our site. So with the heat vulnerability index, you can see the rating of that in terms of how at risk people are in that neighborhood to heat-related illness and death. And then there's a little bit more of an explanation here about what exactly that means. And then we have air conditioning access by percent here. And then the hyperlocal data that I mentioned also should populate as well. It looks a little bit different because it was taken by community scientists. So yeah, it's a new type of data, but very cool, very valuable. And then we have redlining layers as well, which shows kind of how these neighborhoods were broken down under racist housing policies and how that continues to intersect with these like cascading inequalities that we still see in the city today. So yeah, and you can navigate, I think right now we have like, I guess without counting, it looks like about 8 stories. But yeah, we're definitely interested in hearing from more people if they're interested. We have a submission portal that's also not live yet, but that's something that people should be able to use once we get this through our review processes. And then down here, we kind of go over what the community science data collection process was like. This is all adapted from Heat Story, that first website that we shared. And it talks about a little bit more of the details of how people measure temperature and things of that nature. And then project credits, of course, explain who worked on this, because it's a lot of people, funders and principal investigators and people that collected stories and people that ideated and envisioned what this would look like. And that, yeah, there's the community board. So that's kind of the overview of the project. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just wanted to kind of let you know that that's something that we're working on. And when we do eventually go live, if you'd be interested in sharing the opportunity to submit a story, that might be cool, or if you had other thoughts about the project.
Are you taking questions or no?
Oh, yes, yeah.
So I was wondering, if there's like a lot of data, but I'm wondering like, if a person like me, right, a community board member, want to see like yesterday's heat temperature, will I be able to see it per hour, how it changes, or per day, how hot it was from the day before?
That's a really good question. We don't currently have data that's like that specific that's being tracked, at least not on this project. There might be another source where we could see that. You mean like at a specific level, like neighborhood to neighborhood or something?
Sure.
I can look into that. I'm not aware of anything that has that level of like updating, but I can definitely look into it and follow up.
That would be great.
Yeah.
We have a couple of other hands raised here.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
In the areas that you guys find that have a lot of heat, for, like in the summertime, for the elderly people, or people who have respiratory issues, what other services are you guys linking them to other services so they can get like air conditioners and things like that? Like, what do you guys offer them?
So we have some programs for people to apply for air conditioners called HEAP. I don't know if you've heard of that program. I think it's through the state. I know it's not, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm listening to you.
Oh yeah. I know that they like take applications every summer, and there's unfortunately a limited amount of funding. So I don't think it's like as expansive as we would like, but that's one program. There's also I think Con Ed does some energy bill assistance. That's of course not through us. And we do a lot of like heat trainings with community centers. Some of my more like public facing colleagues can probably speak better to that. I could put you in touch if you'd like, but you know, we try to teach people about the signs of heat related illness and like things of that nature. And then of course we have a lot of cooling centers. There's a map on cooling centers that we are going to add to this project as well once we figure out the data and like code stuff behind that. But yeah, someone suggested that and it was a great suggestion.
Great, we have
Thank you.
another question, Michelle.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I remember the monitor was pretty tiny, at the beginning.
Oh.
The monitor that went into different people's houses. Has that monitor changed? And if so, what does it look like in its current modification? And are you still accepting people into the program? And how many people are in the program at this particular point?
Okay, sorry. The first part of the question you asked, you said that there was a monitor.
Wasn't there something did you put into your house so that the heat index would be monitored?
I'm not aware of that. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I don't think that's a part of this particular project.
Are you mixing up
Do you
air quality
what?
monitoring?
No,
Oh,
no,
something different?
no, okay. All right, how many people are in the program at this particular time?
Do you mean in
And this
like
project,
this? Oh, in
How
this
many-
project?
how many people are, how many homes, apartments are being monitored so that? No?
No, homes are not being monitored in this particular.
Oh yeah, no, this is totally like whatever people want to share with us. And the data we have is all like externally taken. Yeah.
It was a different, okay. I'm thinking of something completely different.
Right, but they will be launching that portal to submit their stories and then hopefully you can get a lot of East Harlemites to fill in on that portion to help complete in a more qualitative data set for this.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Anyone
Any
else?
other? Oh yeah. Go ahead, sir.
No, great, okay, awesome, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so
Emily.
much. Okay, thank you. Have a good rest of your meeting.
You too, thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.
Automatic response. Okay, so now we are going to presentations, and discussions about this.
Well, we were already in there. So
Oh,
we're
you
now
know,
going to Pier 107.
Yes, Pier 107 presentation.
All right, so Mary Evelyn and team, when you're ready.
Mike is yours.
Everybody. I'm pleased to be here tonight, and I see I'm joined by my colleague, Sarah Nielsen. We are with the Policy and Long Range Planning team here at NYC Parks. We also have our EDC rep, Meredith Simon Pearson, and we are going to hear a nice update on the interpretive signage plan for the the Esplanade project. And just for those of you who might not know much about this project or have seen our previous presentations, this is between 94th Street and 107th, including Pier 107. And then it picks up again at 117th up to 124th. So the purpose of today's interpretive signage update is to explain how we are hoping that pedestrians who are walking along the Esplanade and the brand new pier will learn about the history of the Esplanade, the waterfront, and some of the new features they're going to see installed. So we're hoping it's a nice combination of historical information and future information as well. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Harriet Spear, who will be presenting.
Hi, can you hear me? I think I have my video on. Do I?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you
Okay.
and see you.
Hello. Hello. I'm happy to be here as well. Nice to see everybody this evening. We've been working with EDC and with Parks and with Stantec on the signage and wayfinding for the park, as well as interpretive panels. So should we?
Oh, sorry, I figured you had the slides up yourself.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I do have them. Let me
Okay,
see
yeah,
if
go
I can
ahead.
share, no
Do you
problem.
have sharing permissions? I'm assuming yes.
I think I do. Yeah, I
Okay.
just wasn't sure if it was going to pop up or if I had to do
There we
that.
go.
So, okay, and can everyone? I don't think it's.
We can see it.
Okay,
That
great.
looks good. You might want to click in and zoom in one more click.
I'm not getting the whole.
That's
screen.
actually hard to see.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. The slides will be updated or uploaded to the CB11 website after, so we could. Oh,
So
that looks better.
Does that look better? I'm just trying. I have the little control panel, sorry, from Zoom that's in the way of making the window bigger. Just
one suggestion, you could try. You see the third icon from the bottom. You've got the minus zoom and the plus zoom, and then it looks like there's like a full page option. Try clicking that third
great.
one. Yeah, let's see what that does.
Here we go.
I'll try doing.
I'm looking for the full screen view. Full screen mode, maybe?
Full screen mode.
Is that helpful? Did that
do anything?
No.
It looks the same to us.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think this is as good as we'll get for now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Which case, yeah. Okay, thanks, Harriet.
Okay, so to start, actually, I'm going to go back to the map to show the locations of the signs. And then just back one page, just to show the park standards that we're working with, the parameters that we're working with, and the color palette. So for Bobby Wagner Walk, we have developed four signs that will be in the two project segments. The first one is here at toward the actually the park and toward the park entrance. It's the first one that you would see, talks about the changing waterfront and East Harlem through the centuries from the waterfront perspective, and how it through history has changed and why. Then we are up at the pier, and we have two panels here. One will be talking about actually on the pier, where there's the area where you can see in the triangular opening and you can see the timber piles and look into the water. There's a panel that will be talking about what actually used to be here. So we have and I'll move on to the graphics in a moment, but it talks about the water, the sea creatures and all that, and animals that lived here, and what the land was like historically, and then shows some information about how it changed. Then there's a panel that's on the Esplanade looking out to the pier, that is a historic panel that talks about the history of the pier specifically. Up here where sign 3 is located, there's a bump out, and we talk about, and you can look and see density of plantings, and the design of the park here is a good spot to talk about the adaptive design and strategy of the plantings and the design of the Esplanade and climate adaptive waterfront. And then the fourth panel up by the RFK Bridge is about movable bridges and about the bridges and the bridge waterfront and, environment and history there. So the first panel, again, talks about waters of change and how East Harlem has changed, initially with the Native Americans coming to the edge of the water to live, and then the Dutch settlers, same, living at the edge of the water. As early settlers did, people were drawn to the water for many reasons. And then shipping became a huge industry. And actually, this was there were many piers and it was bustling here. And there was a lot of like dredging of the river and blowing up of the rocks that are in the river. So it was really totally reshaped for boats to come and for shipping to the piers. But then when they made way for the automobile and the FDR Drive was constructed, many of the piers disappeared. So it's been an evolution. This is the panel that is on the pier and it shows the historic land that was here in the Harlem Creek. It shows where the pier is, where, right where you are. It shows the line of the current land where it had been infilled and what it is now. And then we talk about the marine life and also some of the creatures that lived around here, because of along the water and the creek. It was, and we highlighted the creek, and so it's really interesting from a environmental perspective that there was a creek here, and many of the these animals will come back. The habitat was initially destroyed, but then as things are getting are being revived and there isn't shipping and and things are changing, they're coming back, which is great. And there's some environmental things that are happening on the pier, like these reef balls that are at the bottom, talks about that, what's happening under the surface. And then there's a long story about the American eels who migrate from the Caribbean to this spot here. Actually, it's a really long journey and a very interesting story of migration. And moving on to the panel about the pier history. So now we're on the park, on the Esplanade, looking out to the pier, and we're talking about the history of the pier. And so interestingly, the pier, the 107th Street Pier, was one of many. It was like originally a dump, and then it was built into a more stable pier, and one of many, many piers along the waterfront. And many of them there was swimming and recreation, and then when they took them all away, 107th Street Pier remained, and then it was actually a recreation pier that remained. And then it was renovated in 1991, and so we show the renovation and some really incredible artwork that was here. So we're talking about the pier that's no longer there, and we're capturing the features of that are important. And then we're also talking about what's here now, so you can see what the pier looks like now. This is the panel up on the northern segment that talks about the waterfront design and the design to adapt to changing climate. And this one talks about the park design. We talk about some of the design features like the pavings and how they're light materials to reflect the not to absorb heat, but to reflect the sun, and the plant. And so that is the urban heat island effect. And so there's a little bit about that. So that's some of the design features in the landscape. And then we talk about the raising of the waterfront here, and about the sea change and rise from storm surges. And then it talks about the plantings as well, and how the plants have been chosen to be like just really dense and rich and deep underneath in the roots. So were there to be weather events, that they would grow back, they would hold on, you know, like everything here is also planted for climate adaptation. It's very rich. There's, you know, so this tells that the whole story of the design of the park. And then by the bridge, we talk about movable bridges, which are, you know, really awesome and fascinating and cool. And you're right there by the bridge, so it's really appropriate. We talk about the history of the working waterfront here and about the industrial era and what was happening there. And the Washburn wire factory was here, making all kinds of wire products and shipping them out all over. And so you get an idea of what this would have been like a really bustling working waterfront. You can see the dock workers here. And then we talk about over the years, how these bridges have been preserved and rebuilt and floated down the river. And then the last topic over here talks about the RFK bridge and how it's a lift bridge. And it talks about that when it was built, it was the tallest, I think it was the actually largest vertical lift bridge in the world. And, you know, so what a like engineering feat it was. And those are the panels for the park as they are currently.
Thank you, Harriet. We'd love to hear any feedback if there is any.
I have
you taking
I have
this to PDC.
silly question. I have a silly question. I don't know. It does says movable bridges. Is it like movable, like it moves? Or
No, movable in that boats can get by. So there's
Maneuverable.
swing bridges and there's lift bridges, and all of the bridges along the river are designed to allow the ships to come and go.
got it.
There's not the same kind of ship traffic as when they were originally designed and built, but they still function and they still are movable, and they still allow for ships you know, all of the shipping went to the west side, but they're still here and they're very beautiful.
Awesome, thank you. We have another question from the public.
I'll wait for Michelle, yeah.
Apologies, Michelle, go ahead.
I have a simple question as well. The size of the signs as well as the materials, and are they gonna be like a podium kind of thing?
Yeah, they will be. Actually, you could see here, sort of to get an idea of what the size is. They are 24 inches high by 36 inches wide, and they're mounted to the railing along the waterfront.
Okay.
The laminate panel.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. The panel itself is it's a high pressure laminate, so it's really it's almost indestructible. It's unbelievable, these panels, you know. You could just, I mean, it's really almost not almost impossible, but they are you know, it's a digital print, but it's embedded in laminate, and then it's just this high pressure, and it becomes this very I'm not sure if I have a picture. No, we'll add that for the PTC, but yes, it's a product that you see a lot around these days for signs and interpretive signs in zoos and all kinds of things. It's a really fantastic development of the last, you know, 20 years, that they can do this kind of beautiful prints and have it be in an embedded laminate panel like that.
Okay, and so those, the signs would be attached by some sort of metal garb on the other side, is that it?
Yeah, there's a bracket, so it's attached to the railing, and then there's a bracket that juts out that holds it at the angle.
Okay.
Stanley, you have a question?
No, I was just asking, these are the Esplanades that are on the east side by the East River, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they are beautiful. I was walking by them the other day.
Yeah, the ones on the east Midtown Greenway. Yeah. Exactly.
Any other
This would
Any other
be
questions?
on the East River between 94th and 107, Pier 107, and then resuming again between 117th and 124th on the East River.
Yeah, I can go back to the map if that.
We have another question.
All right, My name is Asher Rodriguez. I'm not on this committee, but I am a community board member, and I have two quick questions. Number one, I remember seeing briefly when I was walking up the walk that there's a oyster reef or something like that, something with oysters over there. Will that be included in the signage?
Actually, I don't think it is, because I'm not sure that, I know that the oyster is part of a,
Billion Oyster
Island Billion
Project.
Oyster Project. And so they'll have signage most probably there, but that's not really part of the design of the park here. So it didn't come into play.
There will be an installation of Billion Oysters. Like they'll essentially, that is a separate organization that has their own oyster gabions, these baskets that are suspended in the water. And so the plan is to have some of those hanging off the pier in the triangular shape as the two entrances of the pier meet. The ecological slide, I believe that's the second sign, discusses the reef balls or artificial reefs. You can kind of see it in that middle picture. Those are actually floated down to the bottom of the river, and that creates habitat to attach to. Specifically, the oyster cages are not featured on this slide. I think our logic was that it's another organization who kind of manages those. And I don't know if Billion Oyster Project has their own signs, but they definitely have a whole educational wing of their program.
Yeah.
So short answer, yes, there will be oyster cages, and I'm not exactly confident that the Billion Oyster Project will have their own sign, but this sign here discusses broadly the aim of having more habitat, if that answers your question.
Yeah, that does. And my second question is it possible for there to be two signs, one in English, one in Spanish, because a lot of our community does speak Spanish? And me specifically as a teacher in this community, when it's kind of hard to like read something in English and translate it to Spanish, so it'll be a lot easier if it was in English and in Spanish. I think a lot more people will be able to enjoy the signage.
We did discuss this within parks, and I believe we are exploring ways to have a Spanish version of the sign available online.
But that's not necessarily like they're not gonna stop in the middle over there, especially there's not that much good signal over there. So I think you should have a separate sign in Spanish. Like that's the least that could be done.
Or maybe like a QR that people like for QR for different languages that people can take out their phones, right? And just scan for different languages, like something just to think about. Thank you, Asher.
Yes, thank you. We are exploring, I think the use of a URL link was what is park standard policy, or would be. For some reason, the QR code is a different, has a different applicability in our marketing scheme. But yes, thank you for sharing that. And we will definitely look into having a version of this that is in Spanish.
I think that's exciting.
That's great. Thank you.
Online, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, board members? Okay, that's okay. Thank you so much.
I just want to make sure that while you are looking into that, just to make sure that Wi-Fi is accessible where the signage are, because if you make it Wi-Fi accessible and there's no Wi-Fi there,
That's not parks. That would be, if anything, maybe OTI and providing 5G link kiosks.
well, no, I was just wondering, because if they're gonna go to that point, then it makes no sense.
A suggestion, just in case for the future. Okay, that's good. Thank you so much for your presentation, Mary.
Thank you so much. It's great to see.
They're still here for the Pier 107, I'm sorry, the Manhattan Greenway Harlem River project updates for construction.
Right, the construction update.
Is that also happening right now, or?
Yes, I believe that's the next update. So Sarah, Meredith, and I are going to stay on, and Meredith will introduce our next speaker.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So good evening, everyone.
Thank you so much for your time. My name is Meredith Simon Pearson. I'm with the New York City Economic Development Corporation, and we're here with our project team along with Parks to give an update on the Manhattan Greenway Harlem River project. So tonight we'll just do a quick overview of the project and remind everyone what the project is, and then we're here specifically to talk about construction starting for sub-project 1 and introduce our community construction liaison. So starting with the project overview, the Manhattan Greenway Harlem River project has 3 sub-projects. So sub-project 3 is up north from 155th Street to Swindler's Cove, and sub-project 2 is from 132nd Street to 145th Street, which you can see here on the map. Both of these sub-projects, sub-projects 2 and 3, are existing Waterfront Parks Esplanade, and our project involves repairing and reconstructing the different types of bulkhead to make sure that these assets can continue to stay open and serve the community. And then further south from 125th Street to 132nd Street, that's currently a gap in the Esplanade Greenway. So in that gap, we're building a new 7-acre waterfront park that involves a reconstructed bulkhead, but also fun
Meredith,
things like
sorry to
playgrounds and
interrupt
picnic
you.
areas.
It
Yeah.
looks like the original project slide has not advanced, so you might want to
Oh, okay.
share
On
and
mine it
reshare your
is.
screen. Yeah, try. Oh, that's
Here you
better.
I was like, am I-
Here, do you mind just like going back to the beginning and restarting? I think we were all just staring at the same slide.
I mean, the other slides are not showing much, so I think we can just
Okay, yeah.
keep going
Go back
from
to
where we were.
This slide
Yes.
is perfect. Thank
Sorry
you.
about that. That's weird. So again, you can see on this map now, sub-project 3 is from 155th to Swindler's Cove, up at the top of Manhattan, towards the top. Sub-project 2, 132nd to 145th. Those 2 sub-projects, again, are just bulkhead reconstruction and repair. And then the new 7-acre park with playgrounds and picnic and barbecue areas, and a new esplanade is sub-project 1, and that's from 125th to 132nd Street. And so our construction team is, at New York City Parks is the owner of this project, and EDC, which I'm representing, is managing this project on behalf of Parks. And we've hired Hunter Roberts Construction Group to be the construction manager for the project, and they have McKissick under them to act as community construction liaison. So specifically today, we want to highlight that we're starting construction on sub-project 1. You can see a rendering here of what's going to be a beautiful new lawn in the project. Again, this project goes from 125th to 132nd Street. So it connects that esplanade that ends at the RFK Bridge all the way up to the existing esplanade on 132nd Street. And an overview rendering, just a reminder of what we've designed in this park. So under the RFK, we have an athletic area with basketball courts and other fitness amenities, a lawn. There's a new bicycle ramp that lands in this park that connects to the RFK. The entrance, at grade entrance triangle at 127th Street, along beautiful Meadow Walk Esplanade, connecting to this northern program area with a cove, playground, barbecue area, and another beautiful big lawn. So the timeline for the construction of this project, in 2024, we've been in procurement, hiring contractors to start the construction. And we've just, in the second half of this year, started kicking off that construction, and you'll really see that ramping up on site towards the end of this year and into next year. And now I'm going to pass it to Maurice Durant, who's our community construction liaison, to introduce herself.
Hello everyone. My name is Maurice Durant, and I'm actually the community construction liaison. And the objective of the community construction liaison, or CCL, is really bridging the community and construction gap. The CCL plays a role, as I said, between bridging the construction team and the community by facilitating open and responsive communication channels and resolving whatever community issues and questions or concerns that anyone may have. As the primary person of contact, I'll be providing timely updates on construction progress and impacts. I'll do my best to maintain transparency around project goals and timeline. My goal is to really build trust and a relationship within the community. So if they have any questions, any concerns, I'll be the person to contact. My information we'll provide. It's actually in the presentation, but we'll provide the email where it can be reached. Meredith, if you can go to the next. This is an example of a newsletter, which is also an example of one of our written communications, which this, as you can see, is available in both English and Spanish. We also will be releasing monthly bulletins and advisories as needed, and they'll be available in both languages as well. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. We were actually clapping that it was both in English and Spanish.
Oh.
Thank you so much. Anyone have any questions?
I do.
Connie?
Can you just clarify what is the construction start date? That was a little vague.
We've started construction, so clearing the site, light construction work has started. Our Hunter Roberts construction management team has a trailer out on site. And starting in December, we'll begin demolition of the platform and moving forward with more heavy construction.
And what is the construction end date? Approximately.
Q3 2028.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
I will bring this up every time we have this presentation, and I'm glad we have the community construction liaison here. Like I said, as someone who works in a school, where are the bathrooms? Because you can't bring a group of kids to a park without a bathroom.
I'm sorry, you said without what? I didn't hear what you said.
Without a bathroom.
Oh,
Bathroom.
bathrooms.
Yeah, hi, this is Sarah from Parks. We are very aware of the issue of needing a bathroom for this project. We have in the past 2 or 3 years applied for grants to the state. There was a state grant, I'm forgetting which program was it. The Harlem DRI, Senator Gillibrand, Senator Schumer, Representative Espaillat, and I've held briefing meetings with the borough president, with Councilmember Ayala. I think that's it. And so far, no funds have materialized. So one thing that would really help to bring that to the forefront is if when the community board, when you all do your district need requirement, unless they see it at the top of your list, they turn to me and they say, well, I don't see it on the community board's list. And I say, well, I hear about it every time I go see them. I know it's a live issue for, 7 years. And so it's awkward. I'm not able to tell them that you guys want it unless you tell them that you want it, right? So I have been, as I said, I've been pushing as much as I can. In fact, I have a reputation in parks now as the bathroom lady. I'm not even kidding. But it again, we kind of all have to focus together at the same time and push in a uniform way. So that's my request of you all is if you could, when you're doing your communications with electeds, especially, just say this is really important to you all. And then when you do that formal process of your district needs, if you can put it, in your top 2 or 3 things, then it really helps them understand that I'm not just like a crazy freelancer over here. Right. So does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not being tough on you, just to be tough on you.
Oh.
You know, you've helped
No,
a lot.
you are correct. Like, you've been tough on me this whole time, and you guys are right, and that's why I'm responding, and why I want the bathroom as much as you want the bathroom, and so we're on the same side. You're not being tough at all. I think you're being tough, but in a good way, and I see us as colleagues in this effort. So yeah.
The information that I would now want, if there's a lot of parks being built all around Manhattan on the waterfronts, I want to know which ones have a bathroom, because from what I saw and from my research, almost all of them, maybe one doesn't have a bathroom, but there's a bathroom within walking distance. So I would like to know why we don't get a bathroom.
Yeah, it's a great question. We've also been looking at that. I mean, I don't want to get into this too far, but the main issue is just where there is a water and a sewer connection. It's easy to do a bathroom, right? And where there isn't those things, it's super duper duper expensive. And then the closer you get to the waterfront itself, the higher you have to elevate any structure because of Department of Buildings requirements around resiliency, right? So you can't have something right down on the beach, because if there's a tidal wave, it'll wash it away. So it's hard to find an appropriate location that will be the right fit to put a bathroom, which is why that 127th Street is so perfect for us, because it is actually the highest point around there. And we would still have to go up a little bit, but it's the most kind of optimal spot. We're also looking at where, there are pedestrian bridges that go from the Esplanade side across the FDR. So we have ideas about doing one maybe at 103rd Street Playground, kind of where there's that pedestrian bridge there. I mean, these are ideas, but again, they take money, but we're really trying to look at the whole Esplanade as one place, right? And then that way, if you're going down to the Esplanade, you'll have access points to and from, even if there isn't a bathroom like out on the pier, right? But you'd catch it on your way out or back. So, but I completely appreciate the question. It's really something we're struggling with and looking at a lot.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For your questions, and thank you for your responses, Sarah. Anybody else have any questions? We need to move go ahead.
Sarah, I don't expect you guys maybe to have this on hand right now, but basically I was wondering if you might be able to provide like the funding that's available for each segment in terms of the projects along the Harlem Greenway and by Bobby Wagner Walk, 107 Pier. If that's something that you can provide right now, that'd be great, but if that's something I can acquire from you, tomorrow or any other business day, I would appreciate that as well. I know we have some old slides, but I don't think we have dollar amounts or numbers attributed to them. I can't say off the top of my head, but if we could get that from you guys, is that possible?
Yeah, we can share that. And I will tell you that, these numbers waterfront work is so expensive.
Right.
There's a couple things that's really driving it right now. We're actually kind of trying to get a handle around it, but the steel is really expensive.
Indeed.
Ever since basically, I think since COVID, the steel industry cost situation has gone way up. And then working really in these narrow, tight spaces along the waterfront, it's just a lot of cost as far as like setup, and then working with getting the approvals when you have to do work like right by the FDR. Just the cost really, really goes up from some of those things. Meredith, I don't want to, if you have more to add, but I'll just say that we're kind of amazed at how these budgets go up and up when marine work is involved.
And Khaled, are you asking about the budget for each of these projects, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
Pier 107 Bobby Wagner Walk, the budget is $294 million.
Oh, wait.
Million.
Wait, sorry. One, Bobby Wagner Walk, 297.
94 million. That's
94.
Pier 107 Bobby Wagner Walk.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know for Manhattan Greenway, Harlem River, it's 309 million, but there might be more.
That's it. It's 309.
Yeah, 309.
Okay.
Harlem River.
And for the, like, you know, the specific projects for this district, project 1 and 2, were there dollar amounts allocated for those segments or 309 across the board? It doesn't really matter.
309 across the board.
Okay, thank you. And, well, so, all right, so I'll shoot over, an email anyways, and if I can get that, I don't know, whatever kind of like fiscal, data you can provide, that'd be helpful. I'm asking for my boss.
Of course.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation and all your responses. We're gonna move the agenda along. To all business. No old business.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
No business, new business. Great, no new business. Vocal, Khalid, thank you very much.
Okay, got it.
Please do it today.
Okay, Jocelyn Cruz absent, Rosa Diaz,
Present.
Stanley Johnson,
Present.
thank you, Connie Lee,
Present.
thank you, Malik McCullough. Malik? Yeah, marked absent. Samantha Paduro,
Present.
thank you, Debbie Quinones. Excuse, sorry, Russell Schuler. He left?
He had to.
Okay, didn't even realize, sorry.
I'm present, Khalid.
Okay, Malik, marking you in. Russell Schuler, left early, Michelle Wilson Clement,
Present.
thank you. Mr. Chair.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
wait, do we need a motion? I forgot.
You should have a motion to adjourn.
Please, anyone motion to adjourn?
Second.
Oops.
All right, that's it. Meeting is over.
Wait, when you send an email for the numbers,
Still, yes.